Hi folks, how you doing? So today is Wednesday, the 4th of January 2023, and once again here I am in downtown Sydney on my usual spot. So they are taking now the Christmas decorations, if you like. So yeah, this is gonna be kind of like my first sermon, if you like, if I can call it that, for this year 2023. And so I'd like to take this opportunity to wish all you guys a happy, new year. It sounds a little bit patronizing saying happy, right? But, this year is going to be a big, huge prophetic year, in God's calendar, if you like. So get ready, folks. Put your seatbelts on and go for the ride. You got nothing to fear, okay? Paraphrasing here, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of sound mind, okay? So what can we expect in the prophetic this year? Now, I did a little heads up video yesterday, I think it was, saying that I was going to talk about the Abraham Accords, okay, and how important they are for Israel. Now, I've got a lot of things to talk about today, and to be quite honest with you, I don't know where to start and how to compile and put everything that I'm going to put together for you guys in this video. There's a lot. I'm going to be going backwards and forwards, but I think this is going to be an important video to edify the church, okay? Now, we know that Benjamin Netanyahu has said that he's going to be chasing up the signature of Saudi Arabia, okay? They desperately want Saudi Arabia as part of the Abraham Accords, and I strongly believe that Saudi Arabia is actually the most important signature or the most important Abraham Accord that Israel can have, if you like, out of all of them. Now we know that Israel has already signed peace treaties, with Jordan, with Egypt, and they got Abraham Accords signed up with, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Morocco, Sudan, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, they also want to get on board Indonesia and Oman. So we'll see how that goes or how that pans out. But I strongly believe, this is just my opinion, this is not a thus saith the Lord. The only thing that I don't negotiate with is the 5, okay? As far as I'm concerned, they are not negotiable because I take a very conservative view of the Bible, okay? And I believe that these 5, what they are, look at my previous video, they are all end-time Bible prophecies, The Bible teaches that they will come to pass before the rapture of the church, okay? Now, but just getting back to the Abraham Accords now, Saudi Arabia is very important because, Saudi Arabia can help Israel, with their political clout, if you like, or the influence, to help Israel, to help Israel and also the other Arab nations to live in a peaceful way, if you like. Don't forget that Saudi Arabia is a very oil-rich country. They have a lot of influence in the Arab world with regards to the Islam, if you like. We know that Mecca is in Saudi Arabia. Okay, Mecca is a birthplace of the Prophet Muhammad, and also the city of Medina is where the Prophet Muhammad lived and taught Islam. Okay, so Mecca and Medina are in Saudi Arabia, and so Saudi Arabia has a lot of political and religious clout in the whole region, okay, in the whole Middle East, with regards to obviously the Arab countries, okay. So, because Saudi Arabia, is such a big religious country, okay, in the Arab world, because obviously, all those countries that surround Israel are of the Muslim faith, then they do have a lot of religious clout, a lot of influence over those countries. And so I believe that Saudi Arabia is probably the most important signature to help pacify, maintain peace, especially during the tribulation period, okay, or Jacob's trouble. Now, when do I think that Israel could possibly sign this Abraham Accord with Saudi Arabia? Look, this is not a thus saith the Lord. This is just an opinion. Just me thinking about the geopolitical, so just my own analysis. You might agree or disagree. That's fine. This is just my own analysis. But This will probably happen after the Secret War, in my view. In other words, getting this signature. I believe they will get it. Israel getting this signature, from Saudi Arabia joining the Abraham Accords partnership, if you like. I can't see it happening early now because what I see in the prophetic is the prophecy of Isaiah 17.1, which is hot on the news in the last couple of days. Israel did an airstrike on the Damascus International Airport. We all know why. Iran keeps bringing in, smuggling in weapons into Syria, and then from Syria they will head towards, southern Lebanon for the Hezbollah terrorists. And so Israel has to defend themselves. So they need to take action like this, and they've been doing this for a long time. So it's not much news, but we know by our prophecy that eventually one day, Isaiah has prophesied in Isaiah 17.1 that it will be a heap of ruins, and they deserve, because they are provoking the nation of their God, the God of Israel, and Israel, needs to protect itself, its nation. So rightly so, and all of us should support Israel on everything that they do from now on everything. We should support Israel 100%. All the way until we Christians are raptured out, okay? Because, I see Bibi. Well, I'll get back to this in a minute. Let me just finish with the Abraham Accord. I got a lot to talk about. Now, I see, Isaiah 17, and also the Jeremiah prophecy, okay? In other words, the Elam Bible prophecy come to pass soon. I'm not sure when, but I don't know which one Israel is going to do, either Elam or Isaiah 17.1, but nonetheless, they need to come to pass, because once these two are done, then this will trigger the Secret War of 38, 39. This is my view, tying, the biblical Bible prophecies, if you like, what the Bible teaches. And after the Secret War, when God has glorified himself by defeating this great army, only 1/6 will remain, then I think that that's a perfect opportunity for the Antichrist to rock up in Israel, okay, and to get Israel to sign, the covenant as per Daniel 9:27 or Isaiah 20:15. Now, Israel cannot rebuild the third temple until they get permission from the Messiah. Okay, we know him as the Antichrist, and so once they sign, this, Daniel 9:27 or this agreement, if you like. As Daniel 9:27 or Isaiah 20:15, then that's when they will get their permission to rebuild the third temple, in my view, okay? And that's the perfect opportunity for Israel to also sign this Abraham Accord with Saudi Arabia, okay? Now, Saudi Arabia, I'm led to believe from what I've been reading out there, pardon me, that they wanted to make a peace treaty with Israel for quite a while, but they want actually Israel to give the West Bank or the traditional Samaria and Judea region, to the Palestinians. And so I don't think that Israel has been ready to do this, but I think that once the Secret War of 38 and 39 is over, and once, the Messiah rocks up, or we know him as the Antichrist, of course, rocks up and gets Israel to sign the covenants for Daniel 9:27 and Isaiah 20:15, then also I think that's going to be the perfect opportunity also for Israel to sign this Abraham Accord with Saudi Arabia, and perhaps even Oman and Indonesia as well. I'm not sure about that too, but maybe, So I think that's when Israel will probably sign this Abraham Accord with Saudi Arabia. Now, it's extremely important that Israel sign this Abraham Accord with Saudi Arabia, not only for diplomatic and for commercial reasons, but also for stability, for peace in the region, because don't forget that once Israel's, after the Secret 38, 39 war, like I just mentioned, then Israel will sign the covenant, okay, and then they will get the permission to rebuild the third temple. And the third temple has been prophesied, to be rebuilt and established on Temple Mount. Okay, we know this by the two prophecies, one in Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2 and 3, and one in Micah chapter 4, Micah chapter 4, verse 1 and 2, okay? They basically read the same. It's basically God saying, look, I'm going to take my mountain back. In other words, he's going to take Temple Mount back for himself. And he's going to, allow the Jewish people to establish, and rebuild Israel's third temple. And it needs to be exalted. So the fact that right now on Temple Mount you got the Dome of the Rock and the Alaska, they are going to be three is going to be, how can I put it? What's he all saying? 3 is too much company, 3 is a crowd, as I say. So, because the prophecy says quite clearly that God is going to take back his mountain, meaning all of Temple Mount, and exalt the third temple, it means that the Alaska and the Dome of the Rock will go. Although there could be some people say, okay, well, there's a lot of room up there on Temple Mount. It's a big plaza. I get that, but Bible prophecy says that God is going to take it all for himself, the whole Temple Mount, and that the third temple will be exalted. What does exalted mean? Showing off. So this will happen, in my view, by Bible prophecy. So I do apologize with some background noise. I'm in a shopping center here. So, so I think that, once, the third temple is done, I think that that's the preferred opportunity for Israel's Messiah to come out, to confront the covenant, and then we'll have the rapture of the church. Like I said in my previous video, triggering the prophecy in Paul in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3, men of sin come sound with the signature of Israel, bang, rapture. But once Israel's got into Chaikov's trouble or the tribulation period, the fact that they have signed this peace deal or this Abraham Accord with Saudi Arabia is going to be of an immense importance to them, because once Israel goes into the trip, there can be no more wars. There need to be a peace, because don't forget that Moses and Elijah will be there during the trip for 3.5 years, preaching the gospel to them and teaching the Jewish people that Jesus is the real Messiah, And so they're going to be at peace, okay, to make the sacrifices and so on. And so we know by Bible prophecy that, during the second half of the tribulation period, that's called the Great Tribulation. We know about the abomination of desolation, and Jesus talks about, and also Daniel as well, that, Jesus says in Matthew 24, those that are in Judea flee to the mountains. And so the Bible doesn't give us a lot of information as to where the Jewish people will go hiding once the abomination of desolation happens. And so I think that these Abraham Accords are very important, because the Jewish people can actually, God is going to supernaturally protect them, okay? There is a prophecy in Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7 to 10. I'll get back to that in a minute, which is highly important. Now, I don't know if the Jewish people, obviously they're going to flee to the mountains, but a lot of Bible scholars think that they're going to be going to Petra in Jordan to hide there. That's a very good possibility. They could actually go hiding into all these Abraham Accord nations that Israel is signing peace treaties with. The Jewish people could escape to Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates. That's why all these Abraham Accords are highly important for Israel in order to save their people during the second part of the tribulation, okay? Once the abomination happens, okay? So that's why these Abraham Accords are very important, not only for commercial reasons, for diplomatic reasons, but also to help save the Jewish people once they flee during the abomination of desolation in the second half of the trip. That's why they're important, folks, okay? Now, it says in Jeremiah in chapter 30, from verse 7 to verse 10. I want you guys to read Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7 to verse 10. God is going to supernaturally protect the Jewish people whilst they are going through all of this. So the Jewish people, the fact that they become a nation in 1948, God will protect his natural covenant, God has come back to the Jewish people now forever, for good. And so God will establish back his natural covenant, okay? God is going to supernaturally protect the Jewish people, and that will solve God. If you read Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7 to verse 10. Very important that you read verse 7 to verse 10. It says how God will supernaturally protect them, okay, and that will serve God, okay? So we got nothing to fear, you know? And so this brings me back to my opinion on Bibi. I think that Bibi, you know, is a great leader, enormous leader, and I see him as a Moses. Yeah, I'm not exaggerating here. I see Bibi as a Moses, okay? Now, how so? Okay. Now, the fact that Bibi is the leader of Israel now, he's going to be leading out not only the Christians towards the rapture of the church by fulfilling, you know, the 5 impending Bible prophecies that I've spoken of already on top of my video, but he's going to be leading the Jewish people as well, you know, for their salvation, for their own good, you know. God needs to deal with them during Jacob's trouble, okay? In order that, you know, the 2 witnesses, Moses and Elijah, you know, they will preach the gospel to them. They will teach the Jewish people that, hey, Jesus is the real Messiah. And so Bibi now, or Benjamin Netanyahu, has a very important role, okay? He's leading Christianity or Christians out towards the rapture of the church with his leadership in fulfilling, you know, these 5 Bible prophecies. And also he's leading the Jewish people into Jacob's trouble, which is a good thing, okay? It's a good thing because, you know, God will supernaturally protect them, okay? So they will be saved, okay? And, you know, the Jewish people are our brothers and sisters in Christ, okay? We are together in all this. And so they will be saved, okay? If you read Jeremiah, like I just said, Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7 and 10, God is going to protect the Jewish people. He's back with them. Like I said about my video, the fact that Israel became a nation in 1948, God is going to protect his people. He has reestablished, you know, his covenant, his people, or his natural covenant, if you like. And so we Christians that we live in Jesus, and the Jewish people of today, you know, God is gonna save us. If you're a Christian, then you go out of the rapture. If you're a Jewish person, then okay, God is gonna deal with you during Jacob's trouble, and eventually you will come to terms that Jesus is a real Messiah. Nonetheless, both we are saved. Okay, God has promised in Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7 and 10 that He will protect the Jewish people and that they will serve Him. Okay, so you know, we Christians and Jewish people, you know, are brothers and sisters, and we need to support Israel 100% in everything that they do between now and the rapture of the church and Jacob's trouble. We need to support Bibi, okay, and his coalition of you know, political coalition partners in everything that they do. Everything is extremely important. You know, the fact that they need to do Isaiah 17.1, the fact that they need to do you know, the Elam Bible prophecy, Jeremiah 49, the Ezequiel war, okay, signing, you know, the covenant, you know. Although they're going to be signing the covenant, you might think that's a bad thing. Okay, it's bad because you know, no one likes the Antichrist, but that's a matter, folks. God is using the Antichrist for the purposes in order that the Bible prophecy might be fulfilled, okay? He's going to be put into the lake of fire and brimstone, so don't worry about him. He's only called for a short little time. It doesn't matter. The main thing is that we Jewish, the main thing is that the Jewish people are already saved, will be saved. God has made a promise to them in Jeremiah chapter 30, you know, verses 7 to 10. He will save them out of this, okay? He says that God will save them out of this, okay? But God has to deal with them, you know, in Jacob's trouble in order that they might know that Jesus is a real Messiah, okay? So they're going to take a different route or a different route. And we Christians, once Israel finishes the third temple, then we'll have the rapture of the church, and we go straight to heaven. And then we'll come back with Jesus for Armageddon. Obviously, Jesus will have the judgment of the sheep and the goats, and then we will live with Jesus for, you know, the 1,000 millennial kingdom reign, together with our Jewish brothers and sisters. Okay, they will be saved. They will be coming back. God will bring them back to Israel from wherever they have been hiding, you know, during the second part of the tribulation period. So we need to support, you know, Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay, we need to support Israel on everything right now. Everything. You know, Jesus said to that woman in Jacob's well, salvation comes from the Jews, you know. And what is Bibi doing now? He's leading, you know, the Jewish nation, and us Christians too. He's leading us out into the rapture. by fulfilling all these prophecies, and only Bibi and his coalition partners can do this, by doing Isaiah, Elam, and so on, So I see Bibi, and I know there's such a running here, I see Bibi as a type of Moses in the end times, leading the Christians out to the rapture and to the Jewish people, okay, into Jacob's trouble, so that God might deal with them, so that, God will use Moses and Elijah to teach the Jewish people, hey, Jesus is a real Messiah. It's only for 7 years. That will be saved out of this, okay, according to Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7 to 10. And hey, we're all going to be brothers and sisters, and Bibi's doing all this, for the Jewish people and for us Christians. Isn't that great, And, to all you guys that want the rapture of the church soon, support Bibi. Bibi is like a Moses now. All he needs is the staff. Here, Bibi, I'll be your right-hand man. I'll pray that God will give you a staff. We need to support Israel right now. It's very important that we Christians and Jewish people alike in Israel and Jewish people all over the world support Israel on everything, because all these Bible prophecies that are impending and in front before the rapture of the church, okay, all this needs to happen so that we can get out of here. Otherwise, we can't. Bibi he's kind of like a Moses. He's leading us out, towards the rapture of the church, and he's leading his people towards, the tribulation period of Jacob's trouble. That they might learn that Jesus is a real Messiah. It's a good thing. We are both winners. God will protect the Jewish people, okay, supernaturally, according to Jeremiah. Okay, I don't want to repeat myself too much. And we'll go up the rapture. So make sure that, that you believe in Jesus now, okay, because you want to go out at the rapture, okay, because those that don't believe in Jesus now, you don't want to go through the trip. You can still be saved during the trip, but, it's going to be tough, It says in the Bible that, the Antichrist is going to want to chop people's heads off, for the testimony in Jesus. So make sure that you get saved so you don't go through that. So how do you get saved? Believe in the gospel of salvation. You will find it in the first book of Corinthians, chapter 15, verses 1 to 4. Here Jesus died on the cross, and then he was buried and rose again on the third day according to the scriptures, okay? Now believe also in Jesus' blood, because Jesus came specifically to the cross, okay, to shed his blood, because Jesus needed to shed his blood to make the blood atonement presentable only unto God the Father. In the Old Testament, the Jewish people used to kill, bulls and goats and sheep, and with that blood they were presented to the high priest, that they might be forgiving all the sins. But Jesus did away. Jesus was the perfect lamb, the last sacrifice. So that's why Jesus' blood is very important. No more, sacrifices are needed from animals. Just believe in Jesus, what he did at the cross, that he shed his blood to make the final blood atonement for our sins, for the sins of the world, and you're saved, you're sealed, rapture ready, and heaven bound. Build a relationship with Jesus. Do it now, because this year is going to be a huge prophetic year, okay? So, and this is good news, I'm hearing out there, on YouTube, a lot of Christians, hitting the panic button, as soon as they read a bad story, or Kim Jong-un has just come out to play with his nukes, he's provoking, South Korea and Japan and so on, and then you immediately hit the panic button and you say, oh, I don't care what anyone says, this is it, rapture of the church. No, come on, folks, you can't just bang with any news story that you're already out there, okay, and then come on YouTube channel and say, oh, okay, that's it, rapture of the church. No, the rapture of the church is not even soon. A lot of Christians are saying out there on the channel, believe in Jesus now, because, for the soon rapture of the church. Soon is the wrong word to choose. The rapture of the church is at least a year and a half away. That's not soon. Soon implies, at best 3 months away at least, if not 2 years away, because, Israel hasn't started any of its Matthew 5 Bible prophecies yet. In order to demolish the Alaska Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, that's going to take a little bit of time, folks. And also rebuilding the third temple, and perhaps, this is what's going to be causing all this waiting. Now, the Jewish rabbis have said that at the end of the Civil War, okay, that they are going to wait 7 months out, fully waited out 7 months to bury the dead, according to, I think it was Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 12, okay? And then after they bury the dead, obviously they're going to be burning the weapons as well at the same time. And then once they bury all the dead, then they will begin the construction of the third temple. Obviously after the Secret War, they will have signed the covenant, with the Messiah. Okay, we know him as the IC, okay, Antichrist, and then they will get the permission to rebuild the third temple. Okay, but don't worry about that. God is using this Antichrist, for the purposes of, in order that the Bible prophecy might be fulfilled. He's going to go into the lake of fire and brimstone. What's going to happen is going to be good for the Jewish people, okay, and for us Christians. That's the bottom line, okay. So, the fact that, like I just said, getting back, just burying the dead is going to take 7 months. Now, if they don't, okay, well, it's still going to take some time, folks, because, you got to demolish the Alaska and the Dome of the Rock and build a beautiful temple, a third temple for God. And they're saying that they're going to be doing this according to, the book of Ezekiel, okay? So, chapters 40 to 48. So, it's going to take some time. I'll probably, in all honesty, I see the rapture of the church sometime in 24. I would say midway 24, if not late 24. And this could go into 25 as well. It wouldn't surprise me. Perhaps sometime early or midway in 25, So, we just got to give this time, folks, but the rapture of the church is not soon, no? So don't panic, just believe in the faith, because, Israel cannot rebuild the third temple until they get permission from their Messiah, okay? And, in order to get to that stage, we need to go through Isaiah 17.1, Elam or Jeremiah 49, and the Secret War. And so we got, a while before that happens. Israel hasn't started yet. Now, I want to say something very important with regards to the Secret War that God will deal with them quickly and swiftly. The Secret War, I'm telling you now, to be generous, if it lasts more than 2 weeks, that's being me very generous. This Secret War will probably last a week. God will not like them in a week. You know why? Because this great northern war, it will be huge numbers. Don't forget that you got a superpower coming there on Russia. You got Turkey, who's got a big army, Iran and so on. And if God doesn't deal with them quickly, that can cause a lot of damage. They could actually kill a lot of Jewish people in Israel because of the huge army and the huge number of weapons. And so God has to annihilate them quickly, to defuse the situation quickly, to save the Jewish people. Okay, and also Israel as well, the land as well, from getting damaged, from bombs and stuff, So God will do with this Secret War very quickly. I think in a week it'll be done, like that. I'll give it at the most 2 weeks, because otherwise, if God doesn't deal with them within a week, that will pose a huge threat to Israel, especially to the people. So this will be done very quick. Isaiah, Elam, Ezekiel will be done very quick. The only thing that's going to take a while will be rebuilding of the third temple. Okay. So I wish you guys all the best this year. I wish you a happy year, as much as possible. It is going to be a bit tumultuous. The World Economic Forum, or the economists, are saying that there's going to be a slowing down of the world economy, okay? They're saying that America, China, and the European Union will be slowing down in terms of economic growth. So, the world economy functions on supply and demand, and so what's going to happen is, due to supply and demand, if the world economy slows down, then corporations will be selling a lot less in terms of selling goods, and so they will be letting go a lot of people. So unemployment will increase as a result, and this will cause crime to go up, obviously, and also these wars in the Middle East, Israel fulfilling its timetable of Bible prophecies. this will cause the price of gas or petroleum to go up. And so the cost of living is going to be going up, unemployment is going to be going up. So in terms of the world economy, yeah, it's going to be tough, folks. But know that we're not going to be here for too long. Perhaps this will all be wrapped up in about a year and a half from now, if not two. So, but I don't want to see Christians out there. As soon as they read a story, I'm seeing a lot of Christians out there on YouTube, on the channels. They read a story, for example. Oh, I just saw Kim Jong-un coming out playing with his nukes. You know what he's like, provoking and all that. And I hear some Christians, oh, okay, that's it, Rapture of the Church. And it hasn't happened yet. You're saying all this stuff, and 6 months later, down the track, we are still here. You're panicking. You're panicking. Some of you are saying, okay, this is it, that's it. I don't care, Rapture. And it's what you're saying coming to pass. No. You could say a story like this today about Kim Jong-un, and in 6 months we'll still be here. So you are wrong. We're going to be here for a while, folks. The rapture of the church is not soon. Until the 5 are done, you will come to learn this, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, you will come to learn that these 5 will need to come to pass before we have the rapture of the church. Exactly, folks. And the sooner you learn this, the more at peace you're going to be. Okay? None of this stuff that you're reading out there, all these news stories, you're not going to be panicking about it anymore. Just remember what Jesus said, paraphrasing here, I haven't given you a spirit of fear, but of sound mind. So, we just need to write this out. This is going to be good for Jewish people and Christians, All of us are brothers and sisters in Christ in all of this, We've got to be patient. Look, we are taking a shortcut. We are going out at the rapture. Okay, the Jewish people, will be told by the two witnesses, Moses and Elijah, that, hey, Jesus is a real Messiah, okay? And, God is going to save them supernaturally in Israel while they are being taught this by Moses and Elijah. And if they had to flee, like Jesus said, in Matthew 24 and in Daniel, hey, those that are in Judea, flee. Okay, they'll flee, but God is still going to supernaturally protect them from afar, like it says in Jeremiah, in chapter 30, verse 7 to 10. Read those. And they might actually flee to all these nations where Israel has Abraham Accords with and peace treaties, okay? Like I said on my video, Jordan, Egypt, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, and even perhaps Saudi Arabia and so on, okay? So all of us are winners, Christians and Jewish alike. We are winners, and we need to support Israel. We need to support Bibi because he's your Moses now, right? And he will lead Jewish and Christians alike. Bibi, or Benjamin Netanyahu, will lead us towards the rapture of the church, and he will lead his people towards Jacob's tribal so that they might know that Jesus, is the real Messiah of the Jewish people, and God is going to supernaturally protect them, okay? So it's a win-win for Jewish people and Christians alike, and we need to support Israel. We need to support Bibi in everything that they do now, okay? So that's all I wanted to say with this video, folks. And I look forward to doing more videos down the track. Thanks for watching, folks.